Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time. And today we are celebrating one of our newest books, Stop Overworking and Start Overflowing, 25 Ways to Transform Your Life Using Human Design. And as you can see, I have 4 of the amazing author experts here with me today to share their wisdom. But first, you guys, I wanted to say a big thank you to Kristi Sullivan. She is our lead author for this project. Kristi had a big mission with this book to bring together the practitioners, coaches, and guides who've made human design a part of their lives and are now helping other people transform theirs. So Kristi, thank you for bringing this amazing author crew together for us. Hi, ladies. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Hi, Laura. Hi, everyone.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you guys. I can't wait for this conversation. So y'all, I have Sally Gamboa Parihar and she's a spirit guide, a teacher, raising her family on Vancouver Island, while she mentors soul-driven entrepreneurs globally to discover their purpose and unique self. Bamboo Ilana is an expert with over 30 years combined experience in acupuncture, myofascial release, and human design, which she uses together to read clients' bodies and their designs to assist in guiding their lives forward. Catherine Rivers is a human design master consultant and certified professional coach dedicated to the empowerment of her clients. And I have Robin Wynn with me. She's the author of 2 best-selling books on human design and the founder of Human Design Certification Training for Professionals. If y'all don't realize the power we have in this little Zoom room, I'm not sure when you will. So I cannot wait to hear you talk about your chapters. Sally, let's start this party with you. Tell me about the chapter that you wrote.
Thank you, Laura, for having me here. It's an honor and a blessing to be here and part of this conversation. I wrote chapter 9, discover the magic within you. Align yourself, your unique self, with wealth and ease. So this chapter really stands out for me because when I discovered human design, I've always known that there's something within me, but I realized through my discovery that wealth is within all of us, and you are wealth and you are the resource. So I've stopped looking outside of me and started to look more within me and started to recognize myself, that I have everything I need now. I just need to recognize and align myself with my true frequency, because once you're more aligned with your true nature, that's when everything just falls into place with ease. So that's what that's one of the things that really has given me confidence in who I am and for others.
Thank you, Sally. Alignment is a theme that's you guys are gonna hear it over and over, not only with this group of amazing authors, but in our other groups too. So Sally, for you personally, when you're aligned, what does that even mean for you?
For me, it's kind of different, because before I discovered human design and I met my husband now, he's been into his master numerology. So when he aligned my name, that's one way to truly align yourself so that you're vibrating, because every name has a sound and every sound holds a vibration. So when I had so many names because I had failed relationships, marriages. So I had to kind of go back to my birth name, and I found out that my birth name was naturally aligned. And so when we got married, so he aligned me back and connected my first name, middle name, and his last name, just perfectly aligned. And so that's one way to align myself and everybody. So you can have a true frequency based on your birthday, and you can have your true frequency or whatever you're aligned currently, so to make sure that they're aligned, so that when you are spiritually and energetically aligned, then it's easier to embody the knowledge that you're learning about yourself through human design, for example.
I love that, Sally. I don't think I've had anyone talk about the name itself being aligned. So I love thinking about that. Sometimes I'll say names, and of course, I try my best to say all your names correctly out loud on the podcast, but there's always an energy to it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes even just introducing yourself, just the sound of it, the name, without you saying anything, they can just feel the vibration of yourself. And not just with names, but with numbers, addresses, phone numbers. Pretty much everything has its own representation of number that holds a vibration. So it's really fascinating. And with human design, then you can also align yourself mechanically, because that's what human design is. It's mechanics. So by living correctly through your design, then you become even more aligned.
Thank you, Sally. Bamboo, you're up
Can
next.
I say something?
Yeah,
Can I say
comments
something?
and
Yeah,
sure,
I'd like to
go
make a
for it.
comment. When I changed my name back in 1976, and I realized, like in the last, 10 years or so, that there was a conflict between my given name and my chosen name, and I had to actually have them dance together in order to kind of come to some kind of alignment. So I wanted to address that, because it really is true. When you work with a name, when you change your name, you have to deal with your given name. So thank you for that.
So tell us about your chapter, Bamboo.
Well, thanks for me being here. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. So I wrote chapter 16, and the name of that chapter is A Dance with Human Design, Finding Your True Self Through Self-Awareness. And human design was something that radically changed my life and allowed me to deal with the cancer diagnosis that I got back in the middle of 2019, in the beginning of 2019. And I have one defined channel in and it's undefined. It's unconscious. So I was fighting with what was natural for me and everything else in the world. And so the realization of who I was and who I wasn't made it possible for me to allow myself to receive the support and the support and the love that people were giving me when I was so resistant to everything. There's a gate 12-1, and there I am, Simon the Silent, sitting on the spear, pushing everybody and everything away. And what happened was, I've been allowing myself to determine and discern when I have to push things away, but allowing things to come to me and allowing more openness. And out of that awareness, through the human design, it's been magical for me. I have been able to, love more, have more compassion for other people, have more compassion for myself, have joy. I never experienced joy the way I've experienced joy in the last year, through dealing with the cancer and really opening more to human design. So awareness, self-awareness has been the magic for me.
And when you're talking about it, you're talking a lot about the relationships you were having with other people who were coming in to assist. How important was that for you?
I moved from Northern California to Southern California to, and one of the reasons why I moved to Southern California was because all the first impressions that I've had with people, being a projector and pretending to be a generator and a manifester, makes a lot of people agitated and pissy back toward me. And so the thing was that I needed to find a place where I could be the new me without all the resistance, without the fighting, being able to listen better, being able to hear people, learning how to shut up and not push on people, made it more difficult to say, I've got to, change all those first impressions to where their people are more supportive, to people where they're going to be accepting of me and I'm not fighting with them. And so when I moved to Southern California, it's like I have this, this new environment, a brand new community that I didn't know, that I had to develop a new network, so that the relationships were not as oppositional, and I wasn't so oppositional with people. And the people that supported me, actually, there were so many people from Northern California that ended up supporting me. There are new people from, you know, the community that I was in, the hand analysis community that I was in with Beth Davis, and, you know, who supported me radically. And I was able to accept that and, you know, reflect back how much I appreciated. And before I wasn't able to. I mean, I was really horrible. You know, I was very resistant. Everything was, you know, I was fighting with the world. You know, I came into the world fighting with the world, feeling like I had to be, you know, I was alone and really not happy about everything. And human design really shifted that so that I could recognize people. And, you know, as a projector, you know, you have to recognize and invite people just as much as you need to be recognized and invited. And so that shifted everything for me. And the gratitude is, you know, has just been, you know, I'm just full of that gratitude.
Thank you, Bamboo. So to all of you, first, you know, thanks for stepping up, not only to just say yes to this project, but to come into it and tell your real, authentic stories. And the readers of this book are also going to get a really powerful toolkit. But the thing that I appreciate the most is it does take courage to tell those stories. And some of you have told them for the first time. Others are pros at this, so they know how it goes. But I do thank you so much for doing that so brilliantly. Catherine, tell us about your amazing chapter.
Hi, everyone. I wrote chapter 4, Stop Doing and Start Being, when I'd already left corporate America and was in a ontological coaching program before I found human design, which started my journey about stop being a do-aholic, which I certainly was. And I think most of the world gets caught up in, as it really is the biggest social message we have is to do in order to be successful. And about 3 years into my work as a professional coach, I still wasn't happy with my toolkit. And I discovered human design, and it's like, we really know who we need to know who we really are at our core in order to get the being correctly. Because we still have incredible social pressures about what's the correct way to be. And so this do-aholic aspect just permeates our thinking. And human design, when I found out I was a manifester, I'm in an 8-9% group of the world's population, it was like, I really am supposed to be different. And I was 50 years old and finally got permission to be different. And it just started changing everything. And then being able to support my clients and everybody else to understand their uniqueness and to start celebrating it just transforms everything.
I had to write that down, stop being a do-aholic. I think that we've been taught the hustle and the grind.
Yeah.
And no one got taught how to align first.
Correct.
Because I think there is a hustle and grind that can actually feel good. Do you agree with that?
There is. And some forms of being are really energetic and really forward moving and is correct for them. But they do need to know that they're going in the correct direction. So all that energy is really a win-win, you know, where they get nourishment from the activity and the world does as well. So that we're not suffering. But I'm not supposed to work 1,000 hours a week, right? When I work, it's in huge bursts. Get out of my way because I'll run you over. And then it turns off, right? And it's not necessarily an accepted form when you're working in corporate America and you're on it all the time. I literally would drive home and just feel like, the air was going, I was a balloon and the air was deflating, and it was all I could do to crawl onto the couch at night and then try and buck up and do it again the next day. Doesn't work for me. And now I know why, instead of making myself feel bad.
Yeah, now I know why. That's an important piece that we're going to be talking even more about today. Thank you, Catherine. So Robin, tell us about your amazing chapter. And listen, you've been around the block or two with writing. So how did you decide to write about what you wrote about for this one?
Yeah, well, the request was to write your personal story, really. And I wrote chapter 13, Discovering a New Story, Shifting from Trauma to Ease. And it really was an opportunity to talk about how human design touched my life. And as I hear everybody talk, it's always so poignant, the impact of human design on people's lives. And in my own story, I had been a body worker, a psychotherapist in a long-term relationship when I discovered human design in 2004. And it was still emotional to me. I discovered my wife was a projector and I was a generator, and we had a fabulous life. We really did. We'd done a lot of work together, and yet there was one place in our lives where we couldn't figure it out. And having that light turned on, it changed everything and continues to be part of our story and part of our understanding each other at a deeper and more compassionate place. And from there, I took human design into my work with clients, with my psychotherapy clients, and it just radically transformed how I saw people, how I worked with people. The whole victim story and projecting it onto an outside source shifted. Even though I'd already been working with that, human design really, really changed that. So I talk about that a little bit in my chapter. Reframed my whole childhood from, it just made sense of my life, why I struggled. It opened doors for me, doors of awareness. And that there's nothing higher in my book than opening to who we are and having compassion for who we are and for who others are. So that's kind of the story for me.
There's something that I love that I hear over and over again, and it's with human design specifically. Y'all had a journey that got you to the place of discovering human design, and y'all were doing pretty well. You had a level of success, and then this little key, this little fine-tuning moment came along with this particular system, and it was the thing, like the missing puzzle piece. And it feels like in your story, Robin, that was part of the deal.
Definitely. Yeah, it was like a light turned on and everything became clear. And when you have that clarity, you stop fighting. You've heard it already today, the acceptance that floods in, that is like a healing salve. It's like a medicine for all of us. It's available for all of us.
So Robin, you talked about awareness, and this is actually the next question that I want to get around to all of you for, but I'm going to go ahead and start with you since you said the word. I look at all of these tools as awareness tools. Anything that helps us understand ourselves and the world around us can give us these gifts. And I really do feel like awareness is a moment-to-moment gift if we can stay awake and pay attention and notice all these beautiful things, right? So what I want to know from you, Robin, first is, what does this practice look like on the day-to-day for you, this awareness practice?
Well, there are many tools, many brilliant tools out there, right? But what makes human design so different is that it works with the formless aspect of ourselves as well as the form aspect. So for me, it's really looking at the openness in me, the unknown of me, as much as the known on a daily basis. Like, for instance, when I go to write my next book that I'm starting this week, my son is in the gate of innovation. I have that ground. I'm bringing that. I know I'm going to shine the light of innovation, but I also know I have an open head. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I can open into that and relax into that, knowing I'm bringing innovation. So it's that dynamic tension between who we are and who we're not in a daily lived way to be in relationship to. hopefully that made some sense, because human design is really kind of quantum. We're talking a different paradigm here. So.
And I want to and I've done it in every interview so far. I want to remind our viewers, you're hearing a language today. You're hearing about the chart and the channels and the generators and manifesting generators. And this is a language, and you're going to hear all of the authors speak about these channels and them being defined and closed and open and undefined, like all this stuff. You're like, I have no idea what this is right now, but I am learning a thing or two from you all. So I love it. But that's part of what, there are a lot of books, including Robin's, that will help you understand what that is so that you can apply. We wanted to help you into these real people's real life stories so that you could feel that resonance and then move forward in your explorations. Lifelong, I know you all said something about going down the rabbit hole of human design. Everyone said that. And it is so true and so fun. So let's see, let's go to Sally now. Sally, answer me this question about how that awareness practice looks in your personal day-to-day.
So when I discovered human design, that's when I started experimenting with this and implementing this, watching your life like it's a movie. It was really hard for me to do at first, because like, as a mental projector, I'm already aware, pretty much like very observant. But sometimes, you know, there are moments where you just can't help it, but like want to do something about it. It's like, especially if, say, you're down in your moment, like, you know, we go through all of these emotional waves up and down, and that's just part of life. But when you're down, sometimes you feel like you want to control things. But then I get to a point where I remind myself, okay, I have to watch this like it's a movie, unless I need to make a decision. I know we all make decisions, major or small things, but sometimes coming back into myself again and realizing, do I have to do something about this? Am I invited to speak about it? Am I invited to interfere? Or do I just watch it like it's a movie and just feel into what that feels like into my body? Because it's really just a passenger, like our mind is just a passenger, and it always wants to take control because it's been conditioned to do that. But I, you know, as soon as I discovered that the mind is really just there to conceptualize and measure things, and everything else, it's in our body, whatever that may be for you. It's inside our body's intelligence that knows how to navigate through life. So for me, that's the most important thing that I've been practicing ever since, is just watching my life like it's a movie.
That's an amazing practice. I do the same. And you said something that I heard, am I invited to interfere or not? And I've heard this, you know, am I invited? You guys have been teaching me about the invitation in general, but that felt really powerful. Like, oh yeah, it could be an interference if I'm not invited. So I like the way that you said that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bamboo, tell me about your day-to-day with your awareness practice. What are you using for that, for yourself?
Well, you know, I contemplate my chart pretty frequently, and because my definition is unconscious, and everything else is undefined and open, everything that I am, everything that I'm not is what I've been taking on. And so being present and being, you know, it's like being present to notice what's going on in my life, and learning how, you know, it took me 2 years to shut up so that I wasn't blurting out and beating up on people and just talking. And the more I shut up, the more I relaxed. The more I relaxed, the easier the relationships were with others. And so the more awareness I had about what I was doing, what was going on around me, because everything that reflects back to me that's going on is some message to me about what I'm doing and what's going on out there, and how I can shift or open to what other people are, you know, to having those relationships work, and having the connections work, and having the communications work, and recognizing that if people are not talking to me, they're not inviting me, they're not recognizing me, they're not my peeps. And if they're not my peeps, then I can just shut up some more. and just relax. And the more I relax, the more comfortable I feel inside of myself. And the more comfortable I feel inside of myself, the better it is for everything and for everybody. I'm not bopping people. And, the irritation that happens when a projector, like is not invited and they blurt something or they say something that they ought not be saying, is that it's like really disrupting somebody else's energetic field. And as a projector, working the energy means that I'm respectful of other people's energy field and what they're going through and what they're doing. And the more I do that, the better the relationships are with other people. And because I need the relationships, I need the network to really, thrive. It's very incumbent upon me to pay attention to what's going on. And so the more aware I am of myself and what's going on around me, the better I feel about myself and the better everything is in the world. So it's just waking up.
Which sounds really good. That's a really great way to say all of this. It's just waking up. Got to get yourself to wake up. Got to remind yourself to pay attention. And that's the practice. I love to talk about building a discipline with these practices. So, because you all are listening to master teachers right now. All of the authors here today have been practicing. They walk their walk. They're in their moments, maybe sometimes over analyzing their moments with these tools, right? They really signed up for, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna practice this, and then I'm going to help you do it too. I want you guys to know what badasses I have here, because it's fun to play in the sandbox with people who pay attention. That's world changing, y'all. So thank you guys for being those people. Catherine, how about you? What's your day-to-day awareness look like?
That when you, one, thanks for the questions. Two, Bamboo, I just fell in love with you. So this was fun. Thank you for that. Where my mind went was trust. That is like the bottom line of my daily practice. I understand, in 13, 14 years, I've been really intimate with my design all this time. And it's really taught me to completely trust the universe and to completely trust myself. And so when I catch a glitch in myself where I'm just not in the flow, it's just really, what is it that I'm not trusting in my energetic makeup and or in the universe? And it just always is so much easier to self-correct, and so some of those things for me are, I'm a manifester. I'm not here to be responding to the rest of the world. I'm here to listen to my own internal spark. And I don't need to go get involved in things unless it really comes from inside me. I'm splenic. And so my job is just to kind of hang out and have a good time until I get an inner intuitive message, and to not sweat anything in between getting a new piece of inner guidance. And so I've just learned to trust that these inner authorities, our own inner wisdom and guidance systems are actually real. Just like an energy design, like water going through a dam and turning the turbines and creating electricity. We can rely on our inner authorities exactly the same way. And when we do, then we get into a kind of an ease in life. We may have busy lives, but there's a ease that goes underneath and through all of our day-to-day experiences.
I love this so much because it's a flow of awareness and trust together. You have to then trust that practice over and over and over again.
Yeah. And then it gets easier and easier and easier. So you get deeper and deeper as long as you are engaged.
And I think the problem with, man, I could talk about this one all day long. The problem is that the things happen to us, for us, and we label them And so then we stopped trusting because the thing looked bad, but bad is our label. So, right. So I just, if trust comes back into the picture, we can pull off of the label of what we're making the moment mean, then that's what gets easy.
Yes.
It does. I promise everyone listening, it gets easier. It gets easier. It gets easier. Okay. So this is so perfect.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Thank you, Catherine. I love what you said too. And the thing about one of the things that comes to me is that everything that happens outside is a reflection of what's going on inside. And when we look at it that way, everything becomes a prop for the transformation that happens inside. And so the awareness that we have of looking at what's going on outside is a reflection of, oh, what is going on inside and how can I work with that? So.
Yes, that self-inquiry, internal, you know, I've heard that all my life, and it's a good thing that I signed up to walk this particular path of healing that I did, because it's taken an entire lifetime to get some of these things down for most of us. You know, it's not like a snap and you're there. Bamboo, this is really perfect. I'm going to start with you for the next question that I'd love all of you to answer. You know, we've had a couple of pretty interesting, I'll just call it interesting years. And there are viewers who are still stuck. They're on this journey. They're not feeling good. They're still feeling stuck. And what I'd love for you to comment about is, you know, what would you tell them in terms of something simple that they can do, maybe even right now today, to ease that stuckness?
You know, I think that first of all, one has to recognize that the stuckness is there as a protection, and to be able to, you know, to appreciate how the stuckness keeps us relatively safe, or how we think we're safe. I'm a queen of stuckness, and you know, that's what generated the cancer anyway. So, so being able to recognize how stuck you are is how much you're holding on and protecting oneself. And so, how can you love yourself? And I think the first step is recognizing that whatever we're doing in our lives is an attempt to keep us safe and, you know, keep us functioning in the world one way or the other. So instead of judging and beating ourselves up, we allow ourselves to appreciate and love ourselves and have compassion for ourselves. I think that's fundamentally, you know, I would say that's the first step. Would I say that the first thing? I think that's almost the first thing that I would, you know, like that I would talk to a client about. If they're on the table and they're beating themselves up, or, you know, like shooting themselves and you know, and thinking that they're not doing anything right, you know, and so it's like, how can I help you hold yourself in a better way? And that's, you know, through that self-awareness and the acknowledgement of that. The other thing is, you know, like who we are in our essence is fundamentally good, and that if we, and anything that we hear ourselves say that's negative is not us and it's not ours. And when we shift out of that, and people have a really hard time doing that because they think all the voices in their head are theirs. And it's like going in and deeper and deeper and deeper and finding out a place where they can say, oh, that's not my voice. That's my mother's voice or my grandmother's voice. And recognizing the flow of how the genetics from our grandmothers come in and express ourselves, and their traumas become our traumas without our recognition. Our cultural traumas become our traumas without our recognition. And so where we can start appreciating ourselves and there's another word that I'm looking for, but anyway, it's taking apart that knot that we think is us, that most of the stuff that we're carrying is not us. And so we have to find a place and a way to have compassion and recognize that we're okay, and that whatever we're doing is trying to take care of ourselves. Because, you know, all the knots and all the resistance in me was me protecting myself from the world. And when I recognized that all of that stuff wasn't me, I could let that go and relax and not have to be so resistant and not so stuck.
Thank you, Bamboo. Catherine, what do you want to add here? Maybe something that our viewers can take to just ease into this little journey we've been talking about today?
Well, there's so many things to share, but here's the tidbit. We could all have exactly the same, a very similar design. But if you're coming from a fear-based view of the world, your expression of your energy is going to be completely different than if you come from unconditional love. And I really do think that's in an overarching theme in all my work with my clients. It's like, you coming from fear, you coming from love, you get to choose. And the moment you start to shift into love, life gets expansive. And if you're living in fear, life contracts. There's not a lot of possibility in the world when we are coming from a fear perspective. And it's a fun game to play. Am I coming from love in this moment? Am I coming from fear? I'm in charge. Choose.
Because with awareness, we get the choice.
We get the choice. And every moment is truly a new opportunity. And so we can always reframe and switch things on a dime. Life really can turn on a dime.
Yes, with the exclamation point to that, yes. Thank you, Catherine. Robin, what would you say to someone who's still feeling a little stuck right now?
You know, one thing I know about being stuck is that when we resist it, we feed it. And to just as a practice, be curious. Curiosity is huge, a light. It's its own light to bring curiosity. So to open to curiosity about that stuckness, and then zoom out and look at the context, look at a bigger picture with it. Open to it from a bigger place. When again, I think so much about, you know, when we're stuck, we're probably caught in a reaction and reactivity. And again, I go to human design. It's such a great big picture to look at those stuck places and refresh the screen and look from a new vantage. When we look from a new vantage, new possibilities show up. When we stay engaged in resistance, we entrench ourselves in that stuckness. So to know, I think it's been said here really beautifully, like that stuckness is our gold. It's our pathway. It's not a problem. If we see it as a problem, we go into resistance and we spin our wheels in that mud. So how do we pause, stop the spin, bring curiosity and open to it and to the gift it might have for us?
Curiosity is so incredibly powerful I call it flipping the switch. That's really sometimes all you need.
Right. Goes hand in hand with awareness.
Yes. Yeah. Under the umbrella of awareness, there are so many amazing tools. I love the curiosity one. My favorite question ever is, what else is possible here? And just asking that question, not expecting an answer right away, maybe, but just sitting right there in the possibility that, there's something else. I love that. Thank you, Robin.
Exactly. Yeah. You're welcome.
All right. So I have one more for all of you today. And you only get to pick one thing. I know there's like 10 million things. You guys are going to want to tell me the whole list. But Sally, I'm starting with you for this one. So when we talk about self-care, and it's something that the people in my world talk about a lot, we say it's necessary, not a luxury, but necessary to have a practice that helps us serve from the overflow. It's a great word that's in the title of our book, isn't it? We want that for people, that overflow feeling. And self-care helps us serve from an overflow instead of our reserves. Y'all know that that's a path to burnout. So what I just want to know from each of you today is, what's your favorite way of filling your own cup? Give us a little window into yours.
I love that question. So you mentioned self-care, and that to me is self-love. And truly what self-love is, I'd say, well, if you haven't had the pleasure of having your chart read, I'd say go do that, because self-love is really knowing what you are. So, and then accepting that, accepting what you are and what you're not. And that goes with other people as well. So once you've accepted yourself, that really is love, and you accept someone else, that's love, and everything else is torture, like what they say. So that's a very important thing to understand, because some people would say self-love, oh, look, it's not about just looking at yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself, I am this and that, but really about recognizing who you are. And human design is really the best way to really know yourself mechanically, and then, yeah, self-acceptance. So that's what I do for self-love. And if you don't know your type, obviously this is something I would recommend. It's like sleeping in your own aura, because I know it's a big topic, but I'll just say that if it's possible, sleep in your own aura. And whether you're with someone or you have a partner, if it's possible, do that, because that will really change the way that you will wake up, and you will just feel the difference. I can't really explain that right now why we have to, but we shift when we go to sleep. So it's a different aura. So if you think of someone as an aura, we're all different. We have a different aura, but at the same time, when we sleep, we have a different dream body. And it's really programming. So sleep in your own aura and find out what it is about yourself, so that you can truly love yourself.
I love it, Sally. Thank you. I'm writing down all kinds of things from you guys today. Self-love is knowing what you are and accepting that fully and completely, are my 3 extra words I added to Sally's quote. Beautiful. Bamboo, how about you? What's one favorite filling your cup practice?
I think this is a really hard question. For myself, I want to pull something out that's different, and I keep going back to everything about the self-recognition and the acceptance of self. Allows me to choose what's right for me, rather than taking on what the world is saying is right for me. And without that self-awareness, and it's going back into the self and knowing the self, like you said, Sally, and allows one to instead of being impacted and run by the world and by the transits and everything else outside of us, we have our own sovereignty in that space. And from that, we can find the right diet, we can find the right location, we can find the right people to be around, and we can choose correctly for ourselves. And that is the way to self-mastery and being in the world in the best way that we can be. I think, I don't know. I mean, it just comes back to that, because anything else is conditioned, is an influence from the outside world.
I love it.
We want to be free of that. And
Yes.
that's self-care.
Thank you, Bamboo. It's really, that's really what I think all of you are saying in all of your chapters, in the voice that somebody needs to hear it in. So I just want to remind you all how amazing you are in terms of being able to share your voice in a way. And if people ever doubted that others are paying attention to that, don't doubt that. You will change a life by sharing your brave words, right? You guys hear me say that a lot. Catherine, how about you? Tell me about a way that you fill your cup.
My way of filling my cup every day is to ask or invite or wait for the flash of what's going to bring me joy today. And I never know what the answer is going to be. It could be being out on the water kayaking, could be ripping up my backyard and working hard, could be taking a walk with the dog. But it's always prompted by the what will bring me joy question. And then I follow my own advice. So,
Smart woman.
yeah, took years.
I love that, and being able to tune into what that is in the moment. We have a self-care list, don't we? We've heard it from so many different places. Take a bath, go for a walk in the woods, turn on the music, do some journaling. You know, there's a list. We have lists. But I think what Catherine said is really, really cool, because one moment, I don't want to go for a walk. I just want to go ahead and turn that music on right where I am in my kitchen, right? And so, but you have to listen to know what that moment, what your soul needs at that moment. I think that's really important.
The lists are an outside boss, right? And then we all go, you're not the boss of me, and I'm not the boss of me either. And then, you know, it all goes off the rails. But when we can listen inside, it's really where the gem is.
Thank you. All right, Robin, you're going to close out this party today. Tell us about how you fill your cup.
Yeah, and like other people have said, there's so many things, but the crux of it really is opening to the present moment. The past is so heavy. The future is, there's so much anxiety or unknown in that. And stepping into the present moment simply by coming into my body, sensing my arms and legs, so much dissociation happens. And just to enter that present moment, relax and open into that, there's an immediate refreshing of and recognition of who I am, and all the tensions fall away in that moment. There's a stopping and a presence that is glorious, is magnificent, regardless of what's happening. It's yeah, I can feel it as I pause right here now.
I'm
It's
taking the
access.
inhale. I'm taking the inhale as you're speaking, right? There it is, right there, in the inhale and the exhale.
Yeah, exactly. The embodiment, being here now, as Ram Dass would say, you'll be right here. However we get there, whatever it takes to embody and be here.
Thank you, Robin. So to all of you authors, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
Thank you, Laura. Really appreciate your driving light to give us this opportunity.
Great vision.
All right, so to all of the people watching this beautiful interview, remember to join us on October 19th at 10 a.m. Eastern, when we're going to be celebrating with a live stream book launch party on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. I have you hooked up down in those show notes with that link. And if something that one of our authors said today, just, you know, you felt it in your heart and soul, you're resonating with that story or that light, go on down, because I have their websites there for you. Take an extra step, click on the website, explore, be curious. We talked about that today. And what I will tell you for sure is that all of the authors in this book are very generously there for you. They'll answer questions and they will support you on your next steps. Okay, so go on down where I have them and their bios and their websites and check it out. All of that awesomeness that they are offering to you all. And if you're listening after October 19th, well, that means the book is ready. So you guys got to hop over to Amazon and grab your copy. Okay. And lastly, everybody, today, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So what if that thing you're still a little afraid to share is exactly what someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.
Thank you, Laura.
Bye-bye.